Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the CBS 58 Morning News. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Lance Hill, tracking bitterly and dangerously cold wind chills once again this morning. We will let you know when finally we see a warm-up and how much longer we're going to have to deal with this Arctic outbreak coming up.
And the dangerous cold has led to another long list of closings and cancellations. We've got them covered, and we're live at a place where Milwaukeeans can warm up.
And fires do not have to be big to present extreme challenges in this kind of weather. We'll hear from a local battalion chief who fought 3 fires while most of you were sleeping.
And we are checking on your traffic conditions for you this morning. This is a live look as our photojournalist Dan Blanchard is driving around using our exclusive iCam to show you the video of what you can expect as you get behind the wheel this morning.
We are the CBS 58 Morning News with Nate Custer and Jessica Ty.
Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, January 7th. I'm Jessica Ty.
And I'm Nate Custer. We have several developing stories to bring you today, with frigid weather still our dominant theme today. And we are live on Milwaukee's south side, staying warm. And on day 2 of this bitter Arctic blast, we'll tell you where you can find shelter. And Matt Doyle can help us out. You see him right in the middle of your screen there. Finding shelter from the cold, in fact. We'll also hear from Battalion Chief, who battled 3 different fires in the Arctic conditions.
The deep freeze, once again, the top story of the day. The big question, how much longer is this going to last? Meteorologist Lance Hill has the answer and begins our live team coverage. Yeah,
well, in terms of those dangerously, painfully cold wind chill temperatures, that's going to go through this morning. After that, things will start to improve. That's why our wind chill advisory, or actually our wind chill warning, goes right through noon today. We are definitely through the worst of this Arctic outbreak, though, as winds aren't nearly as strong as they were yesterday, and we don't have the same issues with the blowing snow, but we do still have dangerously cold temperatures at 13 below right now, Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha, to 17 below cold spots in Beaver Dam and also in Waukesha. Current wind chills, again, minus 30 to minus 40 degrees still this morning, so make sure you are prepared just like yesterday if you have to head out, and certainly just make sure you are bundled up in several layers. If you don't have to head out, well, certainly hang out here with us on CBS 58, and we'll keep you updated as those temperatures continue to warm later on today. Highs right around 1 above with mostly sunny skies. And look at our winds diminishing 10 to 15 miles per hour. So much better news there, especially into the afternoon. And we're going to talk more about that polar vortex, where it is now, where it's going, and also a warm up towards the end of the week. We could possibly be talking about some rain. Details on that in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Lance. Anything above 0, certainly good news in my book. Time now, 6:32. Imagine being thrust into this cold weather unprepared in the middle of the night. That's exactly what happened to residents at this home at the 5800 block of 70th Street. Fire ripped through the Milwaukee home around 3 a.m. And we've been working for you to find out the details of that blaze. So far, we've learned that the people inside, including at least 1 child, safely escaped the flames and smoke inside the 1-story ranch home. A woman living inside describes the frightening and bone-chilling experience.
Started in the walls, and it spread up from our bathroom throughout the other part of the house, and our dad woke us up to tell us to get out.
Yeah, and you can tell by the look on Kenesha Williams' face just how cold the conditions were at the scene at that time. Fire officials have not released an actual cause of the fire just yet. And this video, just into the CBS 58 newsroom, crews have been working to put out a fire that started in the basement of a home near 66th and Hampton. 2 adults and 2 children got out of this house just before 4 a.m. The house did have working smoke detectors. We talked to the battalion chief on the scene, who says this was his crew's 3rd fire of the night. Talked about the challenges firefighters face working in Arctic conditions like these.
Aside from the ice skating rinks that we create out here where we can slip and fall, there's just the other dangers. Water on wire lines makes them heavier, so we got to be careful of that. We Electric and Gas does a great job getting to all of our fires and securing those for us too, to keep us safe. So many challenges with the weather.
Indeed, and he adds that fires seem to be more common in this kind of weather. That's partly because of the many different alternative sources people use to heat their homes. The cause of this blaze, though, has not yet been determined. Jessica?
Milwaukee County schools will be closed today for the 2nd day in a row. It is the first 2-day back-to-back closure because of the cold since February of 2007. The closure impacts more than 78,000 students and staff and includes all after-school activities. Only essential staff has to report to work today. MPS is just one of many districts closed today. Also on that list, Racine Unified. Waukesha schools. Horicon, Lomira, Brown Deer, Menominee Falls, Cedarburg, and Grafton, just to name a few more. You can see the complete list of schools at the bottom of your screen and on our website, CBS58.com. The Milwaukee Public Works Department just contacted CBS 58 with this alert for Milwaukee residents. They say crews will resume recycling and trash pickup this morning. They'll wait, however, until temps reach -10 degrees to put the workers out there. Right now, Lance says the temperature is -13 in Milwaukee. Meanwhile, train travel is being stalled all across the country, and there are at least a dozen Amtrak service stops around our area, including services from the Chicago area to Milwaukee that have been canceled. Worsening conditions right along the tracks are to blame for this. Folks with travel plans in the region are urged to confirm their train status this morning, as residual delays are likely. The Milwaukee Health Department's 3 locations are also closed today. City of Milwaukee residents who need assistance should call 414-286-CITY. If you have a health emergency, as always, call 911.
It is 6:36 and continuing our live team coverage for you this morning. The City of Milwaukee's cold weather health warning is still in effect due to the extreme cold temperatures we're experiencing. The National Weather Service's wind chill warning for the area remains in place until noon today. Warming rooms are open. In fact, CBS 58's Matt Doyle joins us now from Desitar Ministry on Milwaukee's south side. Matt?
Well, more volunteers are trickling in today to help get the coffee and hot chocolate replenished this morning as people are starting to wake up. Now, organizers believe there was probably around 50 people that spent the night here at the Desitar Ministry on the south side as the temperatures dipped dangerously low. Now, there's food, clothing, and shelter available to anybody who stops by. It's been open since Sunday around noon, and they plan to be open through noon tomorrow. Right now, they're still deciding whether they will continue to stay open through Wednesday night because of the weather. They're going to check that out. Now, Zachary Isaacson stopped by early this morning for a quick meal.
I was kind of hungry and had no food at the house, so I just decided to stop by. And I mean, I met a lot of cool people here. I've been just kind of hanging out here all day.
And this, of course, is located on Wind Lake Avenue near 13th and Beecher on the south side. If you want to come by, again, they're going to be open to anybody who stops by, kind of near the intersection of 13th and Beecher. Again, and they're going to be open through noon tomorrow, and those hours may extend depending on the weather. We are live on the south side. Matt Doyle, CBS 58 News.
Thank you so much, Matt. Time now 6:37. The weather simply wreaking havoc on cars in the area. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office telling us that they responded to 106 disabled vehicle calls and 21 crashes on county freeways between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. yesterday. And Milwaukee police warning that just this weekend alone, 7 cars that had been left running unattended were stolen from this past weekend. They want us to remind you that while you might want to get your car warm before sitting in it, doing so is illegal. MPD says it's much better to sit in the cold for just a few minutes rather than risk having your car stolen. And there is an exception, by the way. If you use a remote starter, you can leave your car running unattended with the keys out of the ignition. A thief can't even put the car in gear.
The weather continues to impact flights in Milwaukee this morning. I've been checking General Mitchell's website, and there are more than a dozen cancellations already. Most of them include Chicago, Cleveland, and New York. If you're planning on flying today, of course, make sure you check your flight information before you leave.
And we're not the only ones dealing with this blast of bitter, cold air this morning. More than half of all Americans are, too. And forecasters say the polar vortex of Arctic air could impact an estimated 187 million people. Record lows were set yesterday from Wisconsin to Texas, and thousands of flights around the country were canceled or delayed because of them.
In Nashville, firefighters are using thermal guns to show where homes are losing heat during this cold weather. Heat loss can drive up your utility bill. They're reminding homeowners that ceiling fans can be used to circulate warm air throughout a room. They say if you run that ceiling fan in reverse, it forces the air up and then circulates back down to the ground and heats the lower area. Always a good little trick there. Now to a developing story. Financial troubles continue for Kmart here in Wisconsin. 3 more Kmart stores in the state will close, 2 of them here in the Milwaukee area. The stores targeted for closure are in Hales Corners, Greenfield, and Portage. They're set to close in April. A Journal Sentinel report says liquidation sales at those stores will start on Sunday. The closings will also impact jobs. In fact, we're talking about more than 300 jobs being lost. The Kmart in Brookfield also closed just last month.
And Milwaukee police are looking for the man who pulled a gun on a Walgreens worker yesterday morning. I want you to take a look at some surveillance photos here. A man wearing a large winter coat with a camouflage pattern waited for an employee of the Walgreens at 91st and Good Hope to open the door at 7 a.m. The robber came in with that worker, pulled a gun, and then ran away after getting a hold of some cash from the store safe. Anyone with information is encouraged to call 414-935-7360.
It is 6:40 on this Tuesday morning, and we have early word about a big announcement coming today. The Blue Angels are returning to Milwaukee's Air and Water Show this summer. Organizers will make that official announcement later on today. The U.S. Navy jets flown in tight formations and performing exciting stunts will be the headline act for the air show, set for June 21st and 22nd along the lakefront. Last year, you might remember the Blue Angels actually had to call off a lot of performances because of the federal sequester, but they'll be back in the skies this year. And Lance, you know what this reminds me of? Blue skies that you see right there.
Yes.
Green grass, no snow, not negative temperatures.
I know it. I know exactly what it reminds you of. I mean, that's the lakefront during the summer, and absolutely beautiful. And I'll tell you what, that is certainly some warm thoughts on another bitterly cold day across southeast Wisconsin. All right, let's show you what's going on. Satellite radar combination right now. Lake effect snow cranking up right now just on the other side of the lake. We are clear here, and it's just as cold over here, and they're dealing with more extreme blowing and drifting snow. The other sides of Lake Michigan, and they're talking about 3 feet of snow potentially into portions of upstate New York all around this polar vortex you've heard so much about, also called an Arctic cyclone that has slipped south across southern Canada, and of course that's disrupting the upper air patterns around North America, diving the jet stream far enough to the south that we're seeing that influx of truly Arctic or polar air in nature, and it is going all the way. Take a look at this. These are wind chill watches, warnings, advisories, also lake effect and winter storm warnings all the way from the Canadian border south to the Gulf of Mexico, even into the heart of the Sunshine State, where right now in Orlando the temperature is 34 degrees. That is very cold for those folks. Yesterday they were in the 80s. All right, we have our wind chill warning until noon today. Take a look at some of these numbers now. Actual air temperatures 13 below in Milwaukee to about 17 below Waukesha and into Beaver Dam as well. Everybody else somewhere in between there. Winds 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the west-southwest. Dropping wind chills still dangerously cold into the negative 30s to around minus 40 currently in Waukesha and also up in Sheboygan. 37 below is the current wind chill in Kenosha. So our temperatures as we go through today will actually get just above zero as we get into later on this afternoon. And again, that wind chill warning expires as of noon today. After that, things get much better. In fact, take a look at this. On your 7-day forecast, we are actually looking at a January thaw heading into the weekend. No big storms, just some flurries Thursday, a little rain-snow mixture on Friday. We'll take this out with your 10-day trend coming up in the next 10 minutes. Nate?
All right, thank you so much. And before you head out the door, you want to come take a look at our exclusive iCam. Photojournalist Dan Blanchard is on the roads in our community. Dan, what can you tell us?
Well, Nate, 4394 northbound at the high-rise bridge, there's a two-car crash in traffic. It's in the second lane over from the left. So that's causing quite a bit of problems as you approach the high-rise. Traffic is, stopping short. I heard some brakes squeal. So it's got traffic backed up, and if you're stuck in that second lane from the left, you've got nowhere to go because traffic's moving on both sides of you. I got some video back to the station that hopefully we can turn around, but definitely want to be aware of that situation. No reason to avoid the high-rise, but just be aware of it.
All right, thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate you letting us know about that. And there are several instances at this time, but right now let's go and take a look outside with the look at the DOT camera. I-4394 at National Line. Look at that. Traffic just solidly backed up. A lot of brake lights right there. An emergency vehicle towards the middle center of your screen there. So do keep that in mind. And it is looking, of course, in the northbound direction right there. Things very slow going right there. Also, I wanted to let you know there are some other incidents at this time. I-794 westbound, you've got that disabled vehicle at James Lovell Street. Another one at I-43 northbound, an accident there at Highway 59. And there are several other disabled vehicles. Just be careful. This morning's commute is not looking too pretty at this time.
Yeah, and we don't know what exactly caused this mess that you're seeing right here at 4394 at National Avenue, but this is just a good time to remind you. Yesterday at this time, we had so many accidents. A lot of people were saying, Well, the weather's not bad. I mean, minus the fact that it's freezing cold, but we didn't have snow. But because it's so cold, there's the blowing snow out there, and that is creating some black ice. So that could be causing problems again this morning. So be careful out there. 6:44 right now. The nation's Arctic blast is even impacting business on Capitol Hill, including efforts to restart unemployment benefits. Also in Washington, look who just made her public debut. We'll check out the nation's zoos, the National Zoo's newest Panda Cup.
And I know we say it a lot, but respect the conditions outside. If anything, it may feel even colder than it was yesterday, depending on where you are. And this is the CBS 58 Morning News.